SickBoy from the Gaming Ants Collective, and I wanted to do some pickups before. I wanted to have a wee bit of a rant about a sad state of affairs that I'm seeing go all around YouTube and just in culture in general. So, first things first, I want to do some pickups. So, I've had some wonderful... One thing, I had an absolutely lovely gift the other day, and had a little Deadpool bobblehead and a little Batman. How awesome and thoughtful is that? They are... That's brilliant. They're taking pride of place. They're going here. There you go. Batman. Some of you may have spotted them in the background to my last video. I just haven't brought them up yet. And also a copy of Portal 2, which I'm going to be trying out tonight. Which I played Portal 1, absolutely loved it. Going to enjoy trying out the co-ops this evening. Oh look, female protagonist. Although not on the box art. Female protagonist. Does it matter? Did it matter? Did it stop the game from selling? No, it didn't. Fucking twats that I was mentioning yesterday. Right, got some 3DS pickups. Got a few things over different platforms. First thing, got Tales of the Abyss on the 3DS, which I'm enjoying. I got Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which I already have on the PS2, but why not? I've also got it on the HD collection, but I thought I'd try it on the handheld. It actually works quite well, unless you don't have one of these, which I also picked up, and that's the Circle Pad Pro. Those of you who have a 3DS and don't have one of these, and like the kind of action, any kind of action games, I strongly suggest getting one. Just literally just slots in. There. Dual circle pads. It's not very expensive, and it changed my experience of playing Metal Gear Solid. Because otherwise you end up having to use the X, Y, A and B buttons to control the camera and aim. And frankly, during some of the combat scenes and looking around, which you do so often during Metal Gear, this proved invaluable. And also, trigger buttons. Nice. So I'm happy with that. Also to go, this goes by the kind feedback of Draconovich. Kingdom Hearts. I did say to her previously that I was looking at getting a copy of this, and I happened to see one on eBay where I got it for £20 or $30. So I'm very happy with that. And it included all the AR cards, and somebody was kind enough to format it before they sent it, so I didn't get someone else's save game. Happy days. Okay, moving a couple of bits on the PS3. One game that I've already played but I saw for cheap was Vanquish. Saw it nice and cheap, enjoyed it, so I thought I'd get myself a copy. Another one's a series that I know a new version came out last month, a new edition. I haven't had a game of it yet, but Atelier Aurora, The Alchemist of Ireland. Again, picked it up nice and cheap, so thought I'd see what that's about. It's meant to be quite a cutesy RPG. I've not played a version, see how it is. If it's particularly good or particularly bad, I'll be sure to mention it. Now, I mentioned this the other day as well. I also picked up a copy of Tomb Raider. Now, genuinely, I've just finished this a few days ago. Although I've said in my comment about it, it's not as challenging as I might like it to be. There is a hard mode that I haven't played yet. The final boss battle for me was a little bit of a letdown. But ultimately, it was a good story. It was a good journey. The story itself is well done. A lot of people have criticised it unfairly, I think, with regards to the story. They seem to not understand how someone could deal with trauma. They seem to think that 1 minute she's sick about because next minute she's murdering loads of people. Yeah, her hand-eye coordination and stuff is obviously more advanced than any non-combatant would ever have. However, I do think that her steely determination, turning her into this a necessity killer, I think personally works. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with the way they implemented it. I did think, however, all of a sudden she's very proficient with guns and stuff. You know, climbing and stuff, could understand. Running and jumping, again, you know, I must have gone to climbing schools and ridden horses and done gymnastics, so that's perfectly reasonable. Enjoyed it. Did enjoy it. Was it the greatest game ever? No. Was it fun? Absolutely. Really enjoyed it. Especially since it's being sold so cheaply at the minute. It's probably worth picking up. Okay, to go with my copy of Ni no Kuni, I ordered this a while back and it took a long time. There's a back order on it. Got the full guide to Wrath of the White Witch. Now, I'm not a massive fan of cheats and co-op in general, but when it comes to big RPGs, I do just love the detail of them. I love the fact that it goes through all the stats of all the monsters. It covers some lovely just in-game art, and it shows you for going through with collectibles and things. Because there's so much to this game, you know, you're going to need a 400-page 400-page guide is appropriate to help you get the most out of that game. So personally, I enjoy that. If I've got over there, I've got most of, say, Final Fantasy games, what have you. I do have the guides for because I enjoy having them. They're nicely produced. Right, okay, on to, had some PS2 pickups. Those of you mentioned previously that I picked up a copy of Shadow Man on the when I got my copy of when I got my Dreamcast. Now I did already have a copy on the N64, and I never had a copy of this, so I'm going to try out Shadow Man 2. By all accounts, it's quite different to the first one. Better or worse, I don't know, but I will enjoy trying that out. This game, I have to say, if you're a fan of beat-em-ups and you haven't played this game, I recommend playing it. And it's The Warriors by Rocksteady. Rockstar. Fantastic game. If you ever saw the film from the late, I think it was 79, a gang from Coney Island called The Warriors, they all go to a big meeting where a guy says, let's all get together and we can take over the streets and we can rule the city because there's 100,000 of us, we'll outnumber the mafia, we'll outnumber the police, we should do this. He gets assassinated and the Warriors get blamed, and the story, this being the story, the backstory and the prequel to the film, plus covers the film, has all the original voice actors, and genuinely it's a terrific, this is for me, if you don't count Arkham Asylum as a film tie-in, which originally it was, this is the best official film licensed game that I can think of, hands down. But more so than Arkham Asylum was, if you could even count it as a film tie-in, which technically it isn't. And mentioned it yesterday, but True Crime Streets of LA. Now I had this on the GameCube when I was living in America, so I had an NTSC version and I sold it when I sold my GameCube on Craigslist when I came back to the UK, because we have PAL region over here, so none of the stuff will work. Again, it's a slightly different take and a slight knock off the GTA genre, slightly less open world, very much like Sleeping Dogs. Fun game, decent combat, nice game. Also, speaking of GTA clones, I also got a copy of The Getaway and The Getaway Black Monday, which were quite fun because they did do photorealistic rehashings of areas of London, so it's quite nice to see streets that I know and I'm aware and go, oh, I've been on that road, oh, I've been in that shop. That's quite nice, and it's not a bad game. It was a very highly graphical fidelity for its day. Now, of course, looks a bit like crap, but actually, actually not too bad. Just see if you can get the look of the box art there. Not too bad for a PS2 game. Actually, the quality for a PS2 was very high. And a copy of Maximo. So again, never played this. I've heard it was very good. I never picked it up the first time round. So, these are the wonders of eBay. Did pick up one Wii title. No More Heroes. Nice, another Suda51 game. Just fun. Just crazy, crazy fun. Really tongue-in-cheek. Picked up one game on the PS1 that I have been wanting a copy of since I was a kid, and I never had a copy. I had the demo disc. I always wanted to play it. Rival Schools United by Fate. This game is quite hard to get hold of. It actually guest stars Sakura from Street Fighter. So even if it's all mostly, a lot of it is new characters, some of them have appeared in other titles afterwards. But I mean, the fact that you have Sakura in here, so you ultimately have the standard Capcom Ryu moveset, is handy. Generally, fun game. Bit odd. Typical kind of a few kind of school illusions from very Japanese, culturally very Japanese. You have tag team moves, and for some reason the girls have weird lesbian tag team moves where hearts appear. But ultimately, nothing I've got too much of a problem with. Got also Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of the Superheroes for the Dreamcast. Just fun, just good fun. Really limited roster when you compare it to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I'd say is the definitive copy of this franchise. But again, good game. Here's another couple of games that have come highly recommended. And this one, Jet Set Radios. A couple of you guys actually have brought this forward. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. Again, because I never had a Dreamcast, I've never played this game. I hear very good things. And last but not least, everybody has commented, have you get this game, or why haven't you, how could you get a Dreamcast and not get this game? Shenmue. I'm currently trying to get hold of a reasonably priced copy of Shenmue 2. Yeah, essentially the Dreamcast game. Seems to me that this and Phantasy Star Online was the reason a lot of people got a Dreamcast. So I'm really looking forward to this, although it is credited with the coining of QuickTime events, although technically other games did QuickTime events first. I mean, look at Dungeon... was it Dragon's Lair? That game is all QTE, but you know, this coined the QTE, modern QTE. So that's all the niceness and happiness out of the way. Now I'm going to go on for a bit of a whinge now, and it's on the grounds of how people deal with and accept criticism. This is not towards anything in general. This is not regarding my Adam Sessler challenge. This isn't regarding anything in particular. This is just a general comment as to how I see people acting and reacting to criticism online. Now, criticism, valid criticism, is one thing. So I'm just going to pop on a cigar because it's been a while. Nice Monte Cristo. A lot of people seem to have a big problem with taking criticism. And I don't quite understand why, because I think criticism is a useful function. Any of you true cigar aficionados, I apologise for not using matches, but I don't have any. I think I'm running out of fuel. But you're not here to watch me light cigars. So, there seems to be a genuine issue with how people deal with and perceive criticism. Now, criticism is a valid part of discourse. I cannot say contentious things and expect myself not to have people question them. A lot of cases people agree with me or they disagree with me, and that is absolutely fine. I do not have an issue with someone criticising my opinion. Or the veracity of my conclusions. I can come to a conclusion based on evidence. I can leap to a conclusion. For example, with regards to John Riccatello leaving EA, I said it was because of customer dissatisfaction that he left. Now, that is not stated anywhere. That is not a stated fact. That is what I believe and what I infer based on the evidence. That's not the same. The fact is he is gone. The opinion is he went because customers were pissed with the company, and they were in an untenable position and had to get rid of somebody high up, and the CEO went. That is how things work. That's generally how business works, so I tend to think that's why I think he found himself in an untenable position, and for the good of the company had to step down, take his big severance package, and off he popped. So that's that. So I don't know if someone said to me, you know, there's nothing actually to say, then there's no evidence to say that it was because customers were pissed off with him. There isn't. And I accepted that point, and I said, well, it's the only logical conclusion I can infer, and they're never going to tell you exactly why, because these things go on behind closed doors. Well, that's by the by. So, you know, that's criticism. That's a criticism of my opinion, of my words, and that's fine. I have no problem with people criticising. People should criticise. Trolling's another matter. If someone's going to harass you and be a dickhead, then, you know, fine. Feel free to not reply to them. Feel free not to distance yourself from them. But when I find these flame wars all over YouTube, and I don't know whether it's to do with the egos or it's to do with people. Maybe it's because a lot of people on YouTube seem to have an underlying mental instability, and a lot will admit it. If you look at someone like Boogie2988, say, whether you enjoy stuff or not, I find this stuff generally quite entertaining. I don't agree with his moral view a lot of the time, but that said, that's his experience and that's his, you know. That's fine, you know, criticise. Absolutely fine. He admits he has got a history of mental illness and depression. That's what draws a lot of people to YouTube. Either myself, people have criticised me before being quite pretentious, and whatever. Says the man chopping on a Cuban cigar. Yes, I do consider myself. I quite like myself. I think I'm pretty awesome, to be honest. You can like me or dislike me for that. I don't consider myself arrogant, but I'm also not ashamed of who I am. I'm quite proud to put myself out there. That's why I am what I am, and that's why I've decided to go from my voice cracked. Go from an anonymous person on YouTube talking through the back of a camera to sitting in front of it because it seems to work better. you know, people who are on YouTube are either want to be entertainers or have some kind of need to be heard. They either have a cause they want to talk about, or they have a desire to be an entertainer, or they just have a desperate attention-seeking trait. Sometimes any mixture of the above. Those things are not necessarily bad. They are what they are. I'm getting a really bad track record of lighting cigars on camera. This seems to be working perfectly fine now. So, what is it with criticism? What is it with people that they can't seem to understand that people can criticise you? Now, I'm not going to refer to it. Now, I have criticised people in the past, and generally these things have been resolved amicably, although with some immediate flare-up. But there are people now, when they make a viewpoint, they make a contentious viewpoint. They claim, this is happening, this is the evidence. Somebody then says, I disagree, here is my counterpoint. That's perfectly reasonable and valid. I don't quite understand why these people seem to believe that then constitutes, and they start using words like slanderous, and it's like, whoa, someone disagrees with you, and you start pushing legal issues, and then people start reporting each other, and it turns into this big deal of stifling people's free expression. I do not like the stifling of free expression. I do not ban people unless there just has nothing of worth to say. If they want to argue with me, feel free to argue with me. I have a personal policy if I'm patrolling the comments and I see someone who just says stuff to be a prick, then I just say, I'll either just go, say something snide like, oh, fuck off. I have no interest in feeding the trolls, basically. And there's a difference between a troll and a critic. People can be critical. I've had comments in the past criticising what I say and how I say things and maybe in some cases even who do you think you are, and I don't even consider that a troll. That's a criticism. Am I being too big for my boots? Do I care if someone thinks I'm being too big for my boots? It's criticism. What is it about turning criticism into hate? I hell, you're a hater. Stop hating on me. Stop trolling me. Trolling is trolling. I've seen trolling. I've had people troll my videos with white power comments, starting up new accounts to make white power comments, presumably because they've seen previous videos of mine where I've said I categorically stand for racial equality. For some reason, that seems to stick in some people's throats, and some people like to make arguments about it. Now, the biggest issue when it comes to criticism is how it makes the opposite viewpoint look, and that's what really gets on my goat here. If you look at my discussion, my view on Adam Sessler, on him fucking up about God of War, about his opinions and me disagreeing with his opinions. However, of course, he'll make a contentious opinion. I will disagree with his contentious opinion personally. I may comment, I may make a video about it, I may do whatever. But he has, say, somebody who's contentious, or someone, again, like I mentioned before, Jim Sterling, incredibly contentious character. Now, you can dislike him as a character, you can dislike what he has to say, you can argue with him. But then when you start going, oh, I'll fucking die, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you, fucking keyboard warrior bullshit, all that does is make the opposite side. Like, for example, the Devil May Cry thing's a perfect example. Those who weren't that bothered in Devil May Cry didn't like how Ninja Theory acted. And then there were people who genuinely trolled the shit out of it because of their love for Devil May Cry. That made those who went, this game is bullshit, this game looks like shit. I don't like this game, I don't think it's as good a quality that I want. I'm disappointed with the quality of this game. Those people who have valid viewpoints and have every right to comment were stifled in a quagmire of fucking stupidity. That is not acceptable. That is fucking stupid. People need to sort their shit out and realise, one, don't go on the attack when you disagree with someone. Just disagree with them. It's not a matter of fighting them over it. It's not a case of having a big deal where you've got to hate them and want to track them down and murder them. I disagree with your view. I dislike you as a person. Fine, for fuck's sake. What is the matter with you? This whole Anita Sarkeesian thing is going to get bigger before it gets... And the spectre of radical feminism, most women don't like radical feminism. Pretty much all men don't like radical. I mean radical. I don't mean women should be treated equally to men. Women should be treated as equal standing to men, with equal respect as human beings. Absolutely. Anything that blocks that should be opposed, in my opinion, and I would oppose it. However, when it comes down to claiming that everything is up, and men can't even comment on the issue because they need to check their privilege and all this bullshit. And then, of course, it always turns around to, actually, women are superior to men. You think, what the fuck? You're taking women are inferior to men, valid point. Women are superior to men? That'd be fucking stupid. Are in general, most women better at most things, and some things more than most men? Yeah, fair enough, I'll accept that. Although people don't like stereotyping, people don't like gender rolling, there are certain things you are not going to get. The strongest boxer in the world is always going to be a man. People who claim, like Anita Sarkeesian claimed that that's a fallacy, I suggest you come and see if you can take one on the chin from my 264 pounds. Because this is my genetic size. This is my build. If I were a woman, now I get my broad shoulders. My mother's got she's a slender woman, but she has quite broad shoulders. I get my shoulder width. My father, I'm 6'2", 260 pounds. He's 5'9", about 190 pounds. So I've got my mother's proportions in a man's frame. That is natural. That my size, my chest, my girth. This is my build. You don't get women this build. You do not. Not naturally, you fucking don't. East German shot putters, all proven to be ramped up on steroids, women do not naturally get to my size or my power levels. Not to be arrogant, it's over 9,000. Lol. You cannot make these arguments because they're ridiculous. And then people who want to say, no, hang on, to suggest that men and women do not have, for example, slightly different physiological traits, that on average women are more physically delicate. That is a fact. On average, your average woman is physically weaker and more physically delicate than your average man. However, every man can be floored with a kick in the bollocks, and every woman can't be floored. Most women can't be floored with a kick to the groin. It's just a matter of accepting the differences between individuals and between general trends in different groups, and accepting everybody as of equal standing in society. No different with rich and poor. The rich aren't better than the poor, they're just different. And in some instances, they should live to a certainly different set of rules to everybody else. Because we let them have all the good shit. So they should live by a slightly different set of rules and a slightly higher morality level than people who are poor. This is just general discussion. This is discussion about how the world works. And this debate is healthy. We should all be having this debate. If someone disagrees with the comment I have to say in general, disagree. You want to make a video addressing my videos point for point? Now, I do not script my videos, so generally what I do is how it just comes out of my mouth, which is often why it goes on as long as it does, because I do like the sound of my own voice. So, yeah. Feel free, break my points down point for point. Address them if you will. I'll address them back. I don't care. Or you just want to lend your voice to mine. Do so. Please do so. You want to disagree with the veracity of my conclusions? Do that as well. And to those who get into these flame wars over it, get a sense of perspective. Incidentally, this is from my local brewery. Just picked it up. Little beer barrel. Love it. Getting a discount. It's only half a mile from my front door. It's good beer. I like it. Sorry, it's the for those of you who don't have it, it's the Easter bank holiday. I've got a Friday off work. I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. The office is shut. Just having a nice, relaxed day today. And why the fuck not? Anyway, so ultimately the take-home message is criticism is fine. Be critical of me. You should be able to be critical of anybody else. No matter how passionate your viewpoints are. The fact that I've in the past singled out public figures and been rude about them, if they wanted to come to me, or someone who defends them come to me and say, I think you were unfair on that person, by all means. I may say, no, sorry, I disagree. For example, I do hold people in a higher status, a public status, you know, they are to me, they have higher, I've lost the ash to, I don't know, the ash to my cigar's gone. Oh, there we go. How about that? I've just lost. I'm going to find that in my shoe later, I reckon. So anyway, you know, I do criticise people very fervently. I'm often very rude about them. I will call them cunts and fuckheads and whatever else I can think of. So, you know, and that's fine. If you think I think you're being unfair to that person, think you're being rude to that person, by all means criticise my use of language. Criticise anything about me if you like. You can't be, I won't let you to be critical of what I am in regards to, I don't know, gender, I'm a big guy, whatever. You say that, I'm not going to listen to you. You're a pointless tosspot. My nationality, my voice, I don't fucking care. If you say that you can't hear me, you can't understand what I have to say, that's different. That's a criticism. You think it's wrong that I'm smoking a cigar in a video? By all means, criticise me. By all means. I don't mind. I don't take it to heart. Nor should you take anything I do or say to heart. Because purely it is down to the matter of opinions. Have your opinion. Speak your mind. Don't silence others. Don't resort to hating them unless they are hateful trolls. If they're hateful trolls, ignore them. They have the right to speak, you have the right to ignore. You don't have the right to be offended by someone's view, you have the right to ignore it or address it. You can't silence people because you don't like what they have to say. Like I said before, this isn't addressed at anything in particular, it's just a trend that I've been seeing that I find unpleasant. I don't like it. And it seems to be very common. It seems to be the younger that people are, the more this culture of criticism. And I don't know, maybe it's Western society, maybe it's because everyone has to be a fucking winner. We all get little hats and praises for, I don't know, getting up in the morning. The fact that you have a graduation, certainly in America, I know that you have a graduation for kindergarten. What the fuck? What do you have to do to progress past kindergarten? Not be simple. Not have a mental learning difficulty. That's all it takes to get through kindergarten. You know, we don't all... Yeah, you're all winners. Sorry, there are winners and losers in this world. Some people rise up, some people stay where they are, some people sink. That is life. Some will thrive, some will fail. That is how things go. People have to accept that occasionally you're wrong and occasionally you're not perfect. No one's perfect. You're occasionally wrong, sometimes more than a little bit. I am, you are, we all fucking are. Stop turning these things into like, oh, especially when you start using words like slander or harassment and bullying, and you know what bullying is. For fuck's sake, if you're spending any amount of time on the internet, you probably know what bullying is. You cannot accrue a loft space full of books and videos without understanding the concept of what is actually bullying. That's all I can say is thank Christ for puberty and my growth spurt. Anyway, guys, this is going on for entirely too long. Thanks if you got all the way through this, and if you didn't hear me say this, so whatever. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later.